we started to talk about just like a few things that are non-negotiable, like in possession. It's not just like, I want the ball, right? That's too hard. So we say hard to feet, or some people say home, or into space, or set. And these different things have different meanings for how I want the ball, but it's an easy, non-negotiable way to start working on communication, thus building your presence as well. So obviously it goes well beyond how you ask for the ball. It's about shifting and controlling your back line. It's about conveying a message with a certain sense of urgency based on the situation. But communication can really pay off dividends in a goalkeeper's presence.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows I watch NWSL, call NWSL, and that's what Jordan Bloomer's X factor is her communication and her presence, her personality. And especially when your team is going through a really hard time or a little bit of a dip in form, the results maybe wobble. But for a goalkeeper to be able to be strong back there, it instills trust. It instills a belief that you can't quantify on stats. You can't quantify presence. That's, I think, the bit of the problem with it is save percentage, passing percentage. You have all those different types of stats. You don't have any way to necessarily quantify objectively presence, but subjectively you can look at the confidence of the back line. You can look at the confidence of the midfield of, okay, we can take more risks because we know we have our goalkeeper back there who's strong, and we have faith in that goalkeeper, and we have a trust in that if the ball gets past us, it's going to be even more difficult for them to score because we have a fantastic goalkeeper. That almost allows everyone to be automatic, which is like in flow state, right? We're not thinking about our choices. We're not thinking, oh, I need to shift over here left, and because there's a runner here, I need to drop. No, it's just instinctive. And it allows you to get in that flow state, which is where we want to be, where you're not necessarily thinking, you're not hesitating, you're just reacting on your gut instinct. And when you have someone that's behind you, that's establishing that type of presence, it's easier to be in that instinctual game mode flow state rather than just being like questioning everything, freezing, hesitating, and almost like in this like fight, flight, or freeze state. So not only are you with your communication impacting the opponent and limiting their chances, but you're also hyping up your back line. You're also instilling that confidence, that belief in them for that you guys are in a good place, and that no matter what the opponent does, you're going to be in the best position to stop what they're trying to do.
Brilliant. And it's not this incessant, constant communication. It's direct. It's asking things of your back line when you need them in urgent moments. It's shifting or moving them. It is encouragement and praise. It's not telling my striker to shoot when they're in the attacking half. So we could do a whole podcast just on communication and what effective communication looks like as a goalkeeper. But because this one's about presence, we're kind of going to just leave it there. Being able to communicate.
Happy holidays and welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid. With me is a festive group of professional goalkeeper enthusiasts. The one and only 99 World Cup winner, Saskia Weber, the Keeper Institute's Tori Corsaro, and the guru of spreadsheets, the one and only Bill Reno of Everybody Soccer. What's up, everybody?
Yeah,
what's going on? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Before we started recording, we were discussing airplane travel and airport arrivals during the holiday season. Anybody here have any crazy stories of the holiday season travels? Saskia, I know you travel, I don't know, every weekend, so I'm sure you've got plenty of those stories.
No, I mean, no, not lately. Knock on wood. You probably just jinxed me, Mike. Thanks.
Oh
no! You probably totally jinxed me. I mean, my last debacle was going to call the women's game in Washington, and I got stuck at DFW for 15 hours.
Ooh. 15 hours?
Yeah, just about. Well, yeah, maybe I'm embellishing a little bit, but just a little bit. But at least it was DFW, which is like the biggest mall in America. So it was like, and then I got into Washington at like 2 a.m.
I think the worst travel story I ever had was camp shutout related, actually, Bill. And this was basically a giant storm came in to Stevens Point, Wisconsin. And so it said, your flight has been canceled. It's been rescheduled for next Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm like, next Tuesday?
See, that's why I went into DFW. I had the choice because everything got canceled in LA, and they were like, "Oh, we can get you to someplace random in the Midwest," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm never getting out of there." Because everything's set, because it was the East Coast, right? That everything, and so I was like, "Get me to DFW. I'll like have a fighting chance with the size of that airport to get to Washington." Yeah, Wisconsin. You're stuck.
Oh my gosh. And like this is when I've learned, like, don't do the because for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with the way it works with Camp Shutout, is there are multiple locations where you can fly into. You could fly into Chicago, you could fly into Milwaukee, a little bit of a longer drive, or you can fly into the puddle jumper airport of Stevens Point, Wisconsin, who's literally right there, but not a lot of flights out of there, unfortunately. And I had to be in Vancouver the next day to get on a boat on a cruise to Alaska that had already been paid for. So that was not a good situation. So I had to have somebody drive me to Chicago. I got to Chicago at noon, and my flight was supposed to be at 6 o'clock. And then it became 7 o'clock, and then it became 8 o'clock, and then we got on the plane at 9 o'clock, and then we were on the plane for 2 hours, and then they finally let us off the plane and said, we're actually not going to fly out today. It's been canceled. So I had to find a hotel to stay at in Chicago that night, and I had to be able to buy another flight in the morning to get me to LAX, and then I got on a shuttle from LAX to the Burbank airport to get on a flight to Vancouver.
Oh my God.
For that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I hope that you've retained all those details. Tells me that you haven't forgotten about that.
I know. I hope the cruise was worth it.
The cruise was a lot of fun. I mean, like I saw bears. I saw bears in
Wow.
Ketchikan, Alaska, which was incredible.
Bears in California.
I know. I could go like an hour and a half to Big Bear, and I could see a lot of bears right there.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Bo, these were Alaskan bears. They're more.
They're different.
They're different.
They're different.
They're
I like
different.
the
Well,
bears.
speaking of bears, there was a lot of bears on our NCAA college goalkeeper U bracket board. That is for sure. There was golden bears. There were Bruins. There were all sorts of types of bears. Bill, how are you feeling after last week's recording and the direction that the brackets are
It
going?
was good. I had a couple people text me about it, and they had some thoughts on our.
I was
think-
wondering.
Yeah, I think the George Mason one was the one I got the most. But it was. I think the problem people ran into is like they didn't understand what they were, and they just kind of thought, oh, they were kind of okay at one point. It's like, well, actually, so that was probably the biggest pushback I got. But all in all, I think we still got the top contenders narrowing in. Like, we're okay.
Yeah.
Tori, did
Well,
you
I
get
think
any-
people
any-
have to differentiate between the team success and the goalkeeper's success.
Yeah.
Because if it was a team success, then they're only like, then UNC's going to win, or whoever's going to win, hands down. But it's not, not necessarily the case here, everybody.
Yep.
So.
No, but I do want to say one thing real quick, and I know this isn't where we're focusing on the women's game here. I do want to say it seems to be a heck of a lot of parity now on the men's side of the college game in regards to the teams. I mean, shout out to Washington for winning their first national championship. That's insane. Fun. I mean, obviously Vermont. I mean, who would have thought that would ever happen? I mean, so you're seeing a lot of that. But on the women's side, it still seems like it's a lot of the same traditional powerhouses. Tori, I know you're involved in the college game. Obviously, Bill, you've been involved in the college game as well too. But I want to kind of get Tori's perspective. Do you think that's a trend that's just going to continue? Do you think it's because of NIL on the women's side and where the money gets pooled? What exactly do you attribute to that?
Yeah, it's a interesting question. I think it's hard because it is so different between like mid-major and like the now Power Four. There's some schools I think have, the money to be able to dish out in terms of like I always want to call it NLI and NIL. I always mush them around. But not every school does, and I think that like also then you talk scholarship, okay. But mid-majors can do really, really well. And then I think that there's still sometimes like the disparity between like even think about a mid-major that might make it to the tournament and then they get thrown around the minute that they're in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So I think that there's still going to be like those powerhouse schools. It does shift around. Like, who is it? Okay, maybe this year it's UNC. This year it's, I don't know, Arkansas or whoever it might be at the time. I do think it's a little bit harder, and I don't know if there's a comparison between the men and women's game, but I do think it's a little bit harder for the mid-major women's schools to really like shine on the national level.
Well, and I think now what you have to look at is like what are the schools offering as far as you can go into facilities, into what they're bringing. Like some of these facilities are ridiculous. Like, like even if I look at Rutgers now compared to what we dealt with, like you look at like Florida State, you look at UNC, you look at like what they can offer, like
crazy.
As just all encompassing is so enticing to players. And now because there's a path to play after, and there is that option in a sense where it's like you can play in Europe, you can play anywhere. So there's so many avenues to keep your game going. I think that helps. That's keeping that flow going. Where before it was like, all right, soccer's great. I'm not going to be on the U.S. national team. I'm not the less than 1%. Like, what am I going to do after college? So I am going to pick a college that is giving me what I want as far as my education goes for post soccer. And I think now players seem to think soccer, when you get $1 million contract like Sophia Wilson, like those things are realities now where before they weren't, and I'm telling you, these facilities blow me away. But then you have arguments like, and please forgive me because I love Ange and I know she's not at Texas anymore. You have arguments like Texas that technically have all the money and probably are one of the richest teams in the country. With facilities and everything, and haven't been able to succeed.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. Well, now Marg is from UCLA is there, so we'll see.
Well, it's interesting you brought that all up, and again, we will get to these brackets in a second, but I do think this is interesting conversation, Bill, because I saw you shaking your head in regards to the men's game. I think 7 schools now still have men's college soccer. Is that how it works exactly?
They definitely have dwindled a little bit. I mean, I will say the people that want to get upset about schools having men's soccer is like, if you want to go point at Title IX for doing that, your school could just add a women's sport to maintain that. They don't have to drop men's soccer, but that's another discussion. No,
that's such an old stupid argument.
It's awful. Yeah. The men's side, all those top players have kind of started entering the pro ranks and much earlier, and I think the women's side we're probably like 10-ish years away, I would say, before like we release. Obviously we've seen some, but from like a big wave of it on the men's side, those top recruits, like they're all gone. They're not coming to college, and so those game-changing players, whether goalkeeper, forward, whatever, like they're going on, and so now you're having to figure out where are we going to find these players from. On the women's side, like those top players are still going to college for the most part. So,
and what you don't see on the women's side is those young players going to Europe.
Yeah,
like you'll see some of them come into the NWSL at 16, 15, whatever, very rare.
Yeah,
and on the goalkeeping side, not at all. But they're not going to Europe. So that on the men's side, you have that option where you see 15, 14-year-olds going to academies in Europe and leaving the States. You don't see that on the women's side.
Yeah, absolutely. And MLS Next Pro is like, that's equivalent of like college level. That's that third division, but like, pound for pound, it's basically a college side. So
Yeah,
you'll lose that.
That's a. I mean, that is a good point. I mean, like you look at like what's Washington's like, top player, like I don't know, it's like Philippe Jorgensen, 32 years old from Oslo, and it's like, okay, well, I guess this is college soccer. Sure, why not? Why not?
Yeah, they're not quite 32.
What do you have against older people that can graduate?
No, nothing. It's just
you keep bringing it up.
I have nothing against older people. I'm just saying is that I have clients who, and it's a really difficult conversation. It's an easier conversation on, well, actually, no, I think it's a difficult conversation on the women's side too, because of the transfer portal and the old, I'm not going to use the word older now. Jeez,
you guys heard it here first,
players,
folks.
Yeah.
Veteran players coming in to complete their studies, but especially on the men's side, I have clients who are like, well, where should I go, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, honestly, ostensibly, it really doesn't matter because you're not going to play right now anyway. So just go somewhere you want to study right now, because there's going to be a 27-year-old from internationally who's hasn't gone to school yet, and they're probably going to be playing. I don't know. It's a whole slippery slope.
There are some rules with that, Mike. Just so
it doesn't seem like it anymore.
They're not 27 and stuff like that, unless they like lobby like the NCAA. Like you lose a year for like it's not. You're not playing against 40-year-old.
There's very few over 25, and I'll say this as well. Like, and I'm not trying to be disparaging like Majid is here, but these players like they're coming to the college ranks because they like it didn't work out for them back home, which is totally fine. I get it, but I mean, these are essentially the washouts. So like, if we can't make better talented players than that, then like I don't care if you can't go usurp some X country whatever, like their player that couldn't make it over there, then like I don't sorry, I don't feel really bad for players that can't go be better than that kid. So
they're not all washouts.
I mean, but
you guys are so negative.
No, I mean, the whole joke is like on the recruiting trail is like
they are. They're not going pro. Like that's
a school, like a school. Like the joke is that like a school gets like an email. It's like, hi, my name is Sven. I'm 27, and
you're
I play
just
third
obsessed with
division
these
in
foreign.
Sweden. They're like, great, we'll give you a scholarship. Welcome to Hartford. Like,
so Mike, are you saying you're going back to college to play?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, all I know is if someone gave me the chance to go back for one more year, I'd take it right now.
There you go.
I'm not saying anything against that. It's just it's really hard for me to be honest with these parents who are like who are spending thousands of dollars on college recruiting, and these goalkeepers really aren't going to play. And I mean, it's just a real tough. It's a tough way to. It's a tough way to get to recruit kids right now. And by kids, I mean literally kids, high school kids coming into the college ranks. Yeah. I mean, Tori, you're in the thick of it.
I am in the thick of it.
But like, if you want to go play, like go do intramurals. Like I don't like that still exists.
You could go JUCO, you could go D2, D3. Like if you're sitting here saying I want to go play at at NC State, but you're not going to play. That's your choice. If you want to go to NC State and sit on the bench, but there are plenty of options out there if you want to keep playing and you want to get an education as well. Yeah. It doesn't have to be the Big Four. It doesn't have to be anything like that. You just, so.
I mean, that is actually interesting.
Because our goalkeepers are not that deep in this country that you can't battle for a spot.
Careful then, Susk. Half of them come out of the Keeper Institute, so careful.
There are a lot there. Like to have this idea that, I want to play, but also I don't want it to be tough competitions. Like, look, what are you looking for then at that point? Like,
you want to skate on through?
Yeah, like so.
Well,
all right.
of people.
Okay, we've gone off on a tangent.
The last thing I will say is that it seems like I've been hearing this from a lot of parents, and they go, "Oh, he or she seems to be more excited about the post, the social media post with the like this thing, like, you know, like I'm a bear, like look at me type of thing, than like actually playing for the team. But that might be a whole thing about society in general. So maybe we don't go that direction. All right, Bill, we can go to your brackets. Come on.
All right. I'm going to recap everyone real quick here, and we'll see our Sweet 16 that we have. Share screen, and okay, here we go. All right, so we have
Tori's like, come to me, you'll play. Don't worry.
We've narrowed down 64 schools down to the final 16 or Sweet 16. And we're going to go through again, just taking the top one of each groups of 4. So really have just 5 groups left. We're going to do these 4 here, and then they'll all jump to the final, and then we'll pick our final school off that. But we're going through and trying to find which school best represents Goalkeeper U. And so this is our main 4 here. You guys see the bigger bracket and who's been knocked out. But I'm going to go ahead and kick us over to the first round of the Sweet 16 here. So we've got UNC, South Carolina, Santa Clara, and Michigan. I will say Michigan, Hillary Beale just she's no longer with San Diego. She's still in the NWSL, but she's with Houston now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So give me on that. But
how dare you, Bill?
Yeah, sorry, not everything is perfectly up to date here. But I don't know. I feel like UNC's I feel like they're steamrolling to the final. I think we have a lot of very good goalkeepers here, but I don't know. I think just looking at UNC's with all the national.
Yeah, I think, and we go back to it's over decades. Yep. So I think that's why UNC is just going to the final.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just legacy. Is just like, right? I mean, Saskia. Everybody wanted you to go to UNC, right?
I was recruited by UNC, yes.
No, but I'm saying, but everyone was telling you go to UNC, go to UNC, go to UNC, right? It was like,
yes. Well, yes, it's an in-depth conversation. But it was what would be best for me at the time. And my conversation with Anson at the time was, you know, if I went there, I'd probably sit my first year. Not sure. Lori was going to be a senior, I think. And the amount of play and just getting thrown into the deep end I could get at Rutgers. I was already in the national team pool and with the national team. So it was more about what would develop me as a goalkeeper, day in and day out. Obviously, UNC develops great goalkeepers as well, but I felt that I would get more play and more experience. He was right. So
worked out.
Worked out fine. So,
a little bit.
Worked out fine.
No complaints.
All right. I'll move us along here. So UNC with the I don't want to say easy win, but big win here. We'll take our second before.
Oh boy, this is
hard. This is tough.
Really hard.
Everybody's quiet.
A lot of. I think it's really going to come down to like your methodology and like what you're picking, because I feel like here you could go a lot of different directions. As far as what you're looking for.
This is like a group of death. Look at this.
This one's tough.
Insane.
Yeah.
Somebody should probably talk. We're on a podcast.
No, I mean, I know. Good point. Good point.
Like everything's silent.
Yeah. I'm between Penn State and UCLA, my two, but I can't bring it down yet.
I think where I started is like I look at the last like this because I kind of tried to list them from like top to bottom. So I look on the far right there, like okay, where's like the line, and so like with UCLA Penn State, I'm like okay, that's a pretty good line there. But then looking up from there, like I think I'm leaning Penn State, and I put Nair third because I just felt like her college career wasn't as sharp, but obviously like went on and did big things to the national team. But those top 4 there for Penn State, like that's a good 4.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Bill, because is it is it body of work post college, or is it body of work in college, which is a very different situation?
Well, in my opinion, it's the goalkeeper that got developed. Like you played well in college, yes, but how did that develop you? But we argued about that in the sense of like there was no place to play for some people. So when you look at some of those older players, like let's say when we go to a George Mason, there was no place to play. So it's hard to say body of work after college. Most of them played on the national team, but it's hard body of work when there was no pro to play with. So I think it's a bit of both. I think depending on the decade you're looking at, like, this is a little difficult. This is difficult as well for me. I mean, Tegan's still playing, Ryan's still playing, Lauren's still playing, Katie, like, so their body of work now is good,
I'm plugging in Penn State. I've hit, that's final answer for me.
Okay, but with recency bias towards UCLA is a real sliver, in my opinion. Like really close.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 4 current pros right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I have to go UCLA, you guys. And yes, there's a bias, but a little bit of one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Coached a few of them, but not just that. I think body of work, and I think I'm looking over time as well a little bit. Yeah, I'm going UCLA.
Because they're both covering kind of the same era. Like I don't think Emily Shaw's 99, but I don't think anyone's really in the 90s here.
Oh yeah. Tori, you're the tiebreaker.
I'm the tiebreaker. What about you?
I said UCLA.
Oh, you did?
Uh-huh.
I'm UCLA.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Expected. Sorry, Penn State fans out there.
Tough bracket draw.
That is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I will say just to point out, Aaron McLeod to Alyssa Ney are back-to-back goalkeepers who would later go on to have 100+ caps for their nations. Like that is kind of crazy to have that back-to-back. So, 15 years ago, but we'll give you the move there.
Good old George Mason. There they are.
Hey, it was the bracket. Okay.
Yeah. It was.
You have to look at the bracket they were in, and I thought that Tori brought up a great point. They were completely dominant.
Yep.
In those 2 decades with who their goalkeepers were. So now George Mason is nowhere to be found really whatsoever. Which is why they're not going to make it through this bracket. But the bracket they were in, I felt that they made it through. So it's my argument.
Man, UCF is like.
Yeah, UCF have a quiet side here because I think you think of like good goalkeeping schools, like you don't think UCF, and then you see like the lineup, you're like, oh, okay, that's Kim Wyant. I just started watching I think 8-episode miniseries on the 85ers. She was on that national team, so I was excited to see her name pop up. I think for me, Stanford's the edge, but I don't know, like.
Shout out to Aline. Probably the only goalkeeper I know who was working the goalkeeper camps at UCLA, and then the next year playing in the World Cup. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
To come back to the game later on in life and then still have a consistent career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaning Stanford as well.
Yeah, I mean, gonna go pro. Like you've got Cal's not bad there, but Stanford. I mean,
Stanford. I got Stanford.
Yeah. Okay. Oh boy.
Stanford.
Poor Bears.
See ya.
Bye.
You want to try and make a defense for Cal, or are you just gonna roll over Michael?
I mean, no. I mean, Cal is solid body work. First off, I mean, look, the 2 programs so close to each other. I mean, look, Cal's got Mary Harvey. I mean, so you're talking about national team there and all of that. But you're right. I mean, Stanford body of work in college. I think you probably have to go
out of college. You got Barnhart and Campbell.
Mhm.
Oh, that's true.
Totally rival Harvey. I mean, obviously not World Cup champion, or Olympic champion, but at the same time, but Olympic champions, yes. So I mean, I think that negates that.
Well, yeah, no, you're right, and we've got unfortunately, tragically unfinished
And Katie.
work on the Stanford side with Katie.
Yeah.
Who knows where that could have gone? So,
Well, you also think, I don't know if you want to overweigh this, but like goalkeeper, you think of the most iconic moment for a goalkeeper in college, like it's Katie Meyer.
Katie Meyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that,
Yeah.
like I don't.
Yeah.
There's not many that really compete with
Over.
it.
Yeah.
That was huge. So, but okay, sounds like we're on Stanford. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
That was a freshman year too, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Wow. Yeah.
I think so.
All right. Final four here, or final group in the Sweet 16, and then we'll go to the Final Four. Yeah, this is another good group. I originally, as I was kind of compiling this for Florida State, I can't remember who it was, but I didn't have Kate Ockney on the last spot there. The championship happened. I was like, okay, I'm gonna slide her in. But for some of those who may not know, interviewed Jen Ranola not too long ago, and started the interview by calling her Jen Granola. That was good, and yeah, it was a really fun start. But she was named to the 25th anniversary team in 1999, somewhere in there. Which includes being named over goalkeepers like Bryce Curry, so. And then she was
25th anniversary team of what?
For a college soccer. All NCAA. She was like, they did like a best 11, and
in the what 90s?
In like 99. No, like for like the start of college soccer. So I guess what 85 to, or was it? I'm trying to think.
The start of college soccer total?
The 80, yeah. Well, it was a 25th anniversary team, so I guess it was like 05 they rolled that out. But yeah, she was named on that, so it's kind of interesting. She got after she graduated, played every game at Notre Dame. Lakeisha came in after her, was obviously yeah, she did very well with the national team as well. I feel like all these groups, like the top like two, and then there's kind of like a gap for the rest of them, because like all of them have like a pretty solid top one or two.
Mhm.
I mean, Wisconsin's kind of a funny one because I don't think you think of them as like a goalkeeping powerhouse, but like pros across the board there, just about.
By the way, nothing says 90s sports teams like the San Jose Cyber Rays. The names in WUSA were just amazing.
I never understood that name either.
The Cyber Rays.
It was such a weird name. I'm like, what?
It was like they asked my 7.5-year-old nephew to name the team.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if I can get a team in Philly, that's what they're gonna be.
Cyber Rays.
Philadelphia Cyber Rays.
We were the Philadelphia Power. No, we were the Philadelphia Charge.
Yep. But
That's
you're
what-
gonna
I
be
mean-
the Cyber Rays, and you're gonna like.
And then I was New York Power, but yeah, they weren't like. So I still to this day the Cyber Rays. It always makes me laugh too. I'm like,
It's unbelievable because, like, what is a cyber ray?
I have no idea. It's like it was a stingray, but because of Silicon Valley, I think I don't even remember where
is
it
it-
all came from.
it went
like,
cyber.
Robot Ray.
Huh.
Well, it was
Yeah,
like turn of the century. I think they were trying to like tap into that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Turn of the century. You make me feel so old. It was
Well,
turn of the
Y2K,
century, right?
They were winding
Horses-
they were winding the
horse
cars
and
still with the
buggies.
crank. Like,
Yikes.
With the horse and buggy.
I was
Turn
trying to
of the
explain.
century.
I was
Our
trying to
corset.
explain.
While we played.
twirls his handlebar mustache.
Yeah, I was trying to explain Y2K to someone recently who wasn't alive for it, and like I couldn't even explain.
Oh, the chaos of that.
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
were
God.
just like, so what? Why was this happening? Like, it was just a different time. I don't know. So,
It's a different time.
yeah,
It was.
yeah.
The fear of that, and then I remember I was supposed to go on the turn of the century. I was supposed to go into New York to like MTV Studios when MTV used to do stuff, and for like the New Year's Jingle Ball or whatever. And because it was Y2K and nobody knew what was going to happen with the computers and all this stuff, like I just stayed home. I was like, yeah, but it was like a legit fear.
Yeah.
People literally wouldn't fly. Like it was crazy. It was crazy.
Because you didn't know what was going to happen with nobody knew when the computers would turn over. Something crazy. Anyway, I'm stuck between Notre Dame and Portland on this.
Well, it's fine. I was going Notre Dame, Wisconsin, because I'm looking at Wisconsin and like they've had very consistent
Taggart,
pros coming out, and of course Taggart's like the high point there. But I'm looking at Notre Dame, and even Mackenzie Wood started at Northwestern, transferred in, so like I half credit there. But this last 10, 15 years, like I don't feel like they've done well. Don't want to say it's been poor, but when you think of Goalkeeper U, I don't think it's been quite there. It's really those first two in the 90s that they killed it with.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
I think I'm leaning Wisconsin. I think Florida State's out, although it's a good group, but I think I'm leaning Wisconsin. Because the last 10, 15 years, it's like pro. Like
yeah.
I mean, wasn't that kind of a conversation, Bill, that you had with some of these goalkeepers from the past? I wasn't going to say older goalkeepers this time around. Founding goalkeepers, but that if you came from the Midwest, Wisconsin was kind of where you went. Like if you were coming out of the Midwest, like Wisconsin was kind of the location.
Well, I'd have to go back and talk to Heather about that, but I think that might have been more like geography. I mean, obviously Wisconsin was a good school, but I think it was like lack of like recruiting knowledge.
Okay.
But but to your point, like if you were going to go somewhere in the area, like that's like your top option. There wasn't really anything.
Yeah, if you want to stay home.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think, Mike? I don't know.
I don't think it's Portland or Florida State. I think I would mark those off. I
don't have Portland.
Okay, I think it's Wisconsin for me, but I mean, like look at Notre Dame in the past 15 years. Like,
it's a good argument.
I think Mackenzie.
I'm going Wisconsin.
I'm Wisconsin. I might be partially biased. I got Aaron in the room next to me, and Bloomer just left. So.
Oh, okay. Wisconsin. I'll go Wisconsin. They're like standing behind you like this.
Yeah, they're like, you better pick the Badgers.
You're like,
wait, is Aaron literally behind you right now as we speak?
Way to drop some names.
No, but she's working out in the gym next to me.
Way to drop some names there. You're like, I got that whole list in the corner right now.
Yeah, they're right over there, and I don't want to be able to not leave this room.
All right, Wisconsin it is.
All right. So this is our final. I mean, I like that this is our final group here, and I like we're getting to this point where it's like really starting to get into tight, spots here.
Oh boy.
I think it probably comes down to methodology on this because like UNC, it's hard to overlook the national team ties and the championships and just the hardware that they've had, whereas. You look at, we just talked about Wisconsin with like recent success of putting players in the pro. UCLA is in a very similar vein as well. Stanford kind of in between the two of like they've had national team success, but also they've been churning some talent recently. So I don't know if I would immediately remove anyone on first glance here.
This is hard.
Are we going to choose two teams for the national championship game, or are we just going to choose a national champion?
Yeah, we can knock out two if you want. I mean,
I think that I think we should bring Rutgers back in.
Wait, here, do this.
Just kidding.
We can do a quick comparison. You do a quick comparison here.
No, don't put Rutgers in. I'm just kidding. I think UNC still has to go through, and I think I know the national championship, and it's hard because I know what I was saying about like, but they've turned out goalkeepers that have gone pro, gone to the national team, so they've extended their career afterwards. It wasn't just winning national championships in a sense, like I told you, like, you know, if their goals again, their save average is the lowest in the league, but their shots, how many saves did they make? You could get into that nitty gritty, but all these players had life after, and success after. So I think UNC has to go into the final.
Well,
That's where I'm with that.
Well, this is it.
I mean, and if you were cutting two more out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you're not, then looking at over decades, then this pains me. Then
say Stanford?
No.
If I were to drop two,
if I were to drop two,
yeah. So I'm trying to think like I think I would probably drop Wisconsin and maybe UCLA.
Huh.
I mean, Wisconsin's done well like producing talent, but I just feel like there's a tier that they're not quite hitting that the other three are. And I don't know if that's fair to say because like
Aaron just opened the door to the gym as that was.
You should bring her in and have her put it.
Cameo. No, her head will get too big to fit out the door. We call her in here. I think my first drop would be Wisconsin, and then I'm leaning towards dropping Stanford, making my last two remaining UCLA, UNC.
All right, here I'll. Can I do this? Can I just?
I agree, dropping Wisconsin right now.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Down to three. I have they've done very well for themselves, but this group here. I will say I think I'm with Sauce. I'm moving UNC into the final, mainly because obviously they've had all that storied success. But you look in the last 10 years or so, like they're still like I think
they're still bumping them out.
Yeah, like I think
you got Claudia, you got Ashlyn, you've got, yes, you go back, you got Nunes, you got Mullenix, you got Shelly Finger, and then there are people that aren't even on this list that could be on this list that just because the number. So I think that's my issue. Like you can go even more back with other goalkeepers and in between. So I mean, that's where my choice is actually UNC. Because of that, because I know the other goalkeepers that aren't even on here that like had looks at national team and so on and so forth. So, so they're in the final to me. I'm just now I'm like looking at Stanford and UCLA. So I'm like,
Suska, I love the point you just brought up there. That makes perfect sense in regards to like with a pool so deep that like and other schools in our brackets, like goalkeepers that aren't even on the UNC list would have been like their top goalkeeper.
Right. So you're dropping Stanford, you said, Tori?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, UCLA, UNC in the final, and I think UNC.
Wow. Really?
I think I'd take UCLA. I think I'd take Stanford over UCLA, but it's just like a hair. But it's tough because I'm trying to do like or if I match them like 1 for 1 of like, but even that's like hard for me to say because like Haley Craig's a great example that she's playing pro right now, but someone like CC Peterson, wasn't. She's coming out like right around the same time the league's about to fold,
Right.
So. But then you always have a question marks of like what Katie Meyer would have done, and so I don't know.
That's very fair. Very fair.
I think I lean third, but that's a toss up for me.
I think it's hard because you have those two huge, Barney and Jane, and so those are so huge, sticking out without that success on UCLA. So like for me, it's like because now if you're getting down to the now we're not doing, and yes, I think we all are in agreement what Katie Meyer have done. But then the depth of UCLA where it's like you still have Ryan Campbell, Teagan, Brisky, Rolland, playing. You still have, and that's over 10, 15 years.
Well, and certainly this last stretch has been really, really strong for them.
Yeah, I guess, and this is why I'm going UCLA, and the depth of their pool at players that have left, that were trained there, that have gone on into transfer and success. So, like, like there are other goalkeepers that I know that, like, look at whatchamacallit, from Washington. What's wrong with me?
Olivia.
No. I'll get it in a sec. She's with Seattle now.
Niku,
thank you. So look at Niku. So I gotta go. I'm gonna go UCLA.
Fair. That's fair. All right. It sounds like we're kind of leaning UNC for the final, but I think if someone, because on the men's side, I think UCLA has a pretty strong claim to it. So if someone were to say UCLA is goalkeeper U for both men and women, I don't think I would really argue it too much. But
I think for me, I think it's UNC.
Yeah. Dude.
And I said that's hard. It's hard to say.
I mean, like 5 of their 7 have caps, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, you have to look at everybody has gone on.
1,
basically
2, 3.
And that's what sticks out the most to me.
Oh my gosh. This whole list is all national teamers basically at UNC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes me kind of wonder of, like, I mean, I guess I understand Anson's point, but clearly they're churning out talent.
Well, they've had great goalkeeper coaches. So we haven't brought up the coaches. That's one of the things. So they've had great goalkeeper coaches there and a commitment to develop. So I think that's where you have to look at, where it's not like, back in the day, a lot of teams didn't have goalkeeper coaches. Rutgers did, UNC did, and other teams. And I think also, who are you training against every day in practice?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to go with it.
That's true. Yeah.
99% of schools are going to see the opposition more, whereas like UNC's in that small group where they're not really seeing a lot of the opposition. And you've talked about how, like, the number of saves they would see in a season. However,
this was back in the day. So this was back in my time. Yeah. Moving forward, that changed. Moving forward, you had the ACC getting so strong. Now the Big Ten is so strong. UNC, not winning a national championships until last year for 15 or whatever years. Like, so I think that's changed. And I don't necessarily equate that to like Harris and stuff like that, like, and Dickey, like, back in the day, it was a little different.
It is kind of funny to think about how, you think of UNC as like a, their big dynasty runs and they're all the hardware they got. But I don't think people really think of like, oh, that is goalkeeper U. Much as just like, oh, it's just like UNC itself. But like, you really start looking.
I think also because their goalkeepers they're not like saving their team's ass all the time. Let's be blunt about it. Like, how did UNC save and stay in this game? Well, because so and so Claudia Dickey stepped up and had 15 saves. No, it's 1 or 2 great saves, yes, which we know as goalkeepers is huge. But then it's always focused on the attack, the midfield. Mm-hmm. You can even put up defenders for UNC right now, and it would be like it's who's getting the athletes.
Yeah.
That's
right. All right. Well, we've settled it.
Someone's not happy about how we settled it.
No, definitely not.
I know it is what it is, and I knew going through everything in my mind, this is where we would probably end up. It's just I know I won't hear the end of this from some people.
Well earned, I suppose, but can I make this green? Yeah,
there we go.
There we go. Nice. Yeah, that was good.
So if anyone out there is listening, then you go to, if you want to become a goalkeeper, go to North Carolina. Apparently, that's what it is.
Yeah. But it's a good chance you won't play for a while. I mean, that's like, like that. I mean,
or ever. So,
I mean, I'd have to go back and look on these, but like Siri didn't start her senior or her freshman year. I think she redshirted her freshman year and then split time her redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore. I think Shelly Finger lost her senior spot to Tracy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and that was part of the conversation I had being recruited, and it was just like, there were some other conversations in that as well, like the amount of scholarships and money and, out of state and stuff like that we can get into. But like, it was true. And it wasn't that, and back then there wasn't so many like teams like there are today, like colleges, and some colleges that are huge, they didn't even have programs. But I think that it was already being in the national team pool, already like at in high school and stuff, it was like, well, and knowing that I could go other places that were competitive and play, I was looking at a bigger, longer picture. So
Yeah.
As we wrap up, Bill, I have a question for you and for everybody here, obviously, is that projecting 10 years in the future, how different is this list?
Well, Sauce
that's a good question.
I mean, Sauce brought up the goalkeeper coach situation. That goes a long ways, and the reality is most universities are like their goalkeeper coaches like in and out. Like it's not uncommon for a collegiate goalkeeper to have 4 different goalkeeper coaches in 4 years. I don't know.
Do you guys think that that's changed a bit since they've added the extra assistant coach? Where it used to be, I'm asking Tori especially, like it used to be where, you had the 2 and the goalkeeper. Even when I was at UCLA, right? So this just changed. When I was at UCLA, I was the goalkeeper coach, but I was a volunteer coach and technically get paid off of camp because I was the camp director, the director of camps.
Right.
So my salary would come from camps. Well, what happened? COVID. So there was no camp. So, so basically I was working for free at UCLA, kind of. And so it was like when you didn't have that third assistant coach, you were always deferring your goalkeeper coach to the not your main assistant, most teams. So there's no money to be had, really. You got to move on.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, has that changed now? That do you see them teams, because they're allowed another assistant under salary, that third assistant is a goalkeeper coach?
I think for the most part, yes. I do see that a lot. Or like a lot of times I find like GAs end up being the goalkeeper coach, and then that would give way to like the moving, because once you're done with your program, you move on somewhere else, or maybe altogether don't coach anymore. So I've seen a lot of like GA goalkeeper coaches, or if a school has that position. But I do think more and more from what I've witnessed, which is like a small sample compared to the 300 something schools, I do think that a lot of people have started to have like a goalkeeper specific coach and that extra assistant. But it's not to say that goalkeeper coaches aren't leaving. Like I feel like I even have friends that like they'll stay at a university for a couple of years and then move to another one that maybe is bigger or has more resources or has more opportunity. I don't know that it's like a thing where you like stay to that spot. I think that's like a lot of assistants in general, not even just goalkeepers, or like to move maybe to the next step or next phase that might help them get to, if their ultimate goal is head coaching. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the money is that good, unfortunately. People anchor. Like I always think of like I don't know his name, but the head coach for Gonzaga's men's basketball team that's been there for like 20 something years. Like he built that program, has done very well with it. Like the money came with it. Like there wasn't a need for him to go bounce somewhere else. Like he's accomplished what he wants. Whereas I think for a lot of us goalkeeper coaches, it's like, hey, you can make 40,000 over here, or maybe 50,000, and it's like, whoa, okay, that's like a huge jump, but really, it's like still kind of peanuts at the end of the day.
Yeah,
because you're still not making a ton of money. So like I think you still see a lot of mobility now. I think you definitely can start seeing some schools investing some time and money into stuff, and you look at like in Indiana football, how like kind of overnight they just started being really good. Like I don't know what all is going on there, but really they took some seriousness to it. So you think you could see something, but it'll take time.
Every car dealership in Indiana basically just pulled their money into what happened.
Yeah.
That's where all the NIL money comes from. It's always like car dealerships, like auto shops, like local restaurants. Like,
I love stuff on Instagram where like one of my players I follow, like they're like, "Hey, come to like Joe's auto shop." I'm like just thinking like, you got $50 for that. Congrats! Like, way to go! Yeah.
All right, UNC it is.
All right.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. We can do this in 50 years. We'll come back to
Come back in another 15.
50 years, college even exist anymore.
But it is interesting, and that's a good point, Mike, because when I sit back and if you were to go back, obviously things would have been different had we done this, if the internet existed, had we done this like in the beginning of the 2000s, right? So totally different schools. Probably UNC would still be there because of who they had back then, but different schools in the mix, like George Mason, like we said, like different, universities, UMass maybe would have been in the mix, like stuff like that. So schools that have dropped off. So it'd be interesting in 15 years that who's not there anymore, like where that changes in the next 10 years and what schools come up with a lot of money. And like I said, Texas was a good example. Does this change? And like I said, all my heart goes out to Ange and everything. But does that change, because of the money they're throwing at the program and stuff like that? So now do they become a juggernaut? And so it would be interesting. Or do goalkeepers finally start going pro? Because I don't feel goalkeepers are ready to go pro before college, to be honest with you. They're just not. So.
Yeah.
It's a big difference between having a 15-year-old field player get integrated into training sessions
bit by bit, and games. You just don't do that with goalkeepers. So it's like you can't just say, okay, I'm going to sub an Olivia Moultrie in, who came in so young, and say, I'm going to give her 20 minutes here. We're going to give her this here. We're going to give her that and here. And now she's like freaking ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous soccer player.
Olivia Moultrie's been a pro for what, like 12 years now?
And it blows your mind that she's still a teenager. I think she just turned 20. She's still a teenager. So that blows your mind, and the way she's playing, and she's with the national team. You don't get that with goalkeepers, and you just don't. And Tori, like even at TKI and stuff like that, getting better comes with experience and age, and understanding of the game. And I find it hard to believe we're going to see a 15-year-old goalkeeper in the end of WSL. Sorry.
Yeah, I just think you'd miss out on a lot of development that you'd receive through the game and what the game can show you and kind of expose of you. And until we maybe have a system where there's like first team, second team, I don't know that it would be the best thing. I can think of one goalkeeper that was high school age that I would be like, what if you threw her in a pro environment? She would probably give her 2 years and she would be ready. And she was integrated in with our youth national team, so she would have gotten games through that, yada. But
who is it? Name her.
Julia Dole. And that's probably the only person in my time here with TKI and like college coaching that I'd be like, yeah, I could see her going pro right away.
If you look at, like you said, the second team, like Kansas City has Kansas City too, right? So they have their second team. They sent them to TST. It was all young kids and stuff like that, and they didn't move on in TSC. Well, neither did Angel City, but if more NWSL teams do that and create that, I don't want to call it a second division, but like developmental teams that play against second division
and year round, not just like in summer against other college kids. It's like a year round type deal.
Yeah, 100%.
I think two things. One is that pathway. So important, obviously, and I think what you saw in MLS and from it starting out as a glorified club to a legitimate academy programs at a lot of these clubs, it's the same thing. Should some of these ECNL teams become the academies for NWSL teams within the area and pool resources between them? Because, like if you'd look at Southern California, like there's no reason Angel City could not have an academy. Like really in this area
Yeah,
with
true.
the amount of talent that's in the area. Or Gotham. I mean, my gosh, in the New York, New Jersey metro area, I mean, it would be, and then the safety issue. If you throw in a 15-year-old goalkeeper who doesn't have the EQ, it's just a lot less safe than throwing in a field player into that situation. In my opinion, I don't know. Just.
I think it's going to come down to money. I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta give a person a reason to go somewhere. So
True.
You're going to pass on UCLA for Angel City 2, like you better be throwing some money at them. So, but,
no, it's a good point. It's a good point. And then how much play are they going to actually get? Are these teams going to travel and play against each other, or like you said, Tori, is it just going to be like a summer cup thing where all of a sudden, for a week, the Angel City 2 and Kansas City 2 and Portland 2 go and play each other in like a surf cup type of situation?
Right.
That's not enough. You know what I mean? So who is their competition going to be regionally? Like, or we could do it regionally in California because you could go up the West Coast kind of. At minimal expense. But if you're in Kansas City, where are you sending these kids to play?
But you also have to supplement the games with the other elite, club programs in the area, youth programs in the area, which is what MLS does.
Yeah. Well,
that's
we'll
a whole
see.
other conversation. So
I just don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to college, goalkeepers.
Go to
college, everybody.
Go to college.
Go to college and apparently go to UNC.
Well, as we wrap
guys.
this up, because this will probably be the last episode before the beginning of the year, just really quickly, obviously, Tori, you've got events going on at the Keeper Institute that you may want to plug. And then I would like to just kind of ask everybody what they're looking forward to in 2026 in the world of goalkeeping. So.
Yeah, I'll start us off. We got a lot of stuff coming up. If you're on the West Coast, listen to this. We have our San Diego becoming kind of annual camp. Super pumped to be out there. Some special guests, as well as a whole bunch of stuff that'll be released in the new year, 2026, that we'll be kind of doing, whether it be our programming, individuals, or just clinics throughout the year. And very shortly, our summer camps will be announced. What I'm looking forward to in 2026 is just kind of continuing to develop my own coaching style and coaching philosophy. I think in the last year or so, I have one, and I've been considering what's it going to look like to revamp, and just kind of now, I'm older and I'm wiser. What am I going to adapt? What am I going to change? What am I going to kind of put out into the world? So I'm trying to put a little more content on my personal Instagram, my goalkeeping Instagram. So kind of looking forward to pouring some time and effort into that.
Tori, are you still in your 20s? You're older and wiser. Are you still in your 20s?
32.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and according to Mike, you can go back to college.
32? Tori, you're 32?
I know.
What?
I know. I don't.
You look like a puppy.
I know.
Cute little kid.
Like a little golden retriever.
What are you talking about? 32.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I could be your mom. I actually could. So, me, okay. Obviously, nice break coming up. Looking forward to the holidays with the family and everything. Looking forward to number one next season, NWSL. We had some great goalkeeping this year, and looking forward to seeing how Boston and how Denver integrate, and be interesting to see how the change works for Casey and up in Boston, and then you've Smith in Denver, and seeing how being part of new organizations changes their games. Looking forward to the Men's World Cup, obviously. And then I'm really looking forward to, because we're coming into World Cup qualifiers for the U.S. Women's National Team. So I am looking forward to seeing who Emma, although I have my opinions, who Emma settles into as her number one, because choices have to start being made. I think, and we'll see, how that turns out, and how the team really starts to develop into what we're going to see as, the World Cup team. So looking forward to that.
Bill?
And hanging out with Jill Lloyden, who apparently, you know, is somewhere in the background as well. And
So I don't know if she's here. I haven't seen her yet today. She left before I got here.
and you guys, and just keep getting better as a broadcaster.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
I'll cap off here. Just put out my college rankings, and literally I'm getting texted right now for someone giving me shit about how I ranked them. But I am also very interested to see the expansion teams. That's 2 starting goalkeepers that we didn't have last year, so got to see that. Got to see the Super League still rolling, so hopefully they can continue to expand themselves. The World Cup is going to be huge. And like the women's national team, I like to see that, like the Vegas odds on who's going to be starting for the women's national team in a year from now, because I think they're kind of all over the place. But a lot of kind of what ifs, a lot of storylines. I don't know. I'm pretty interested. I got some interviews coming up with Madge. You'll be on one of them with the Federation goalkeeping head of goalkeeping. So we'll do that one. We got Tracy Noonan as well. We'll be doing that one pretty soon.
Noons.
So, yeah. So, a lot of fun stuff coming up.
Right on.
Nice. And I am looking forward to no longer hearing Jill's voice when I'm running goalkeeper sessions in my head after I say something that goes against what she just said on a recent podcast. I'm looking forward to not having that.
I thought you loved when she blows your mind, that you didn't think of
I
it
do
or
love when
looked
she
at
blows
that
my
way.
mind, but then I'll say something like, oh, perfect. And I'm like, no, Jill said don't say perfect. Jeez. What? Don't. Can always improve.
Oh
Can
my
always
gosh.
improve. But I do see myself when I check for understanding now doing Jillisms like, you could do that. You could. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's happening. In all reality, I am looking forward to obviously the World Cup qualifying. I am looking forward to finding out what happens with that shoring up on both the men's side and the women's side in regards to the national team pool, which is a thing. And I'm really looking forward to that conversation, with the goalkeeping director for the U.S. Federation. I'm really looking forward to Bill keeping his mouth somewhat shut. I don't know how this is going to work out exactly.
I'm going to grill him. I'm going to put him.
Oh my gosh. And I'm looking forward to all of you next year in 2026, continuing your growth as goalkeeper coaches and players and parents and all that stuff. So you can find us at Goalkeeper Podcast, at the Union Goalkeeping. You can find me at Michael Magid, obviously Saskia at Saskia_Weber. You can find Tori Corsaro at Coach Tori.
I love that.
Did I get it?
TKI Coach Tori.
TKI Coach Tori at TKI Coach Tori. And obviously check out thekeeperinstitute.com for all the information on all the camps. That is all the time on Inside the 18. And we are out. Later, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.